Hi, my name is Jo Mangum, founder of The Strategic Agent, where we take real estate agents who are frustrated and overworked and give them the steps and the tools to hit their goals and live the life that they wanted when they got into this crazy business. To that end, we publish lots of great free information for real estate agents, including our interview series. Welcome to part one of a three-part series with a woman named Pam Vesper. Pam is an attorney who defends real estate agents. We asked her to talk to us about three topics, and those three topics are our three-part series of this interview. So in part one, this part, you're going to learn all the things that you should be doing. In part two, you're going to learn about all the things you really shouldn't be doing. And in part three, we're going to talk about when the real estate commission comes calling, what is a good strategic response for you? I know you're going to love this series. And so I'm going to get out of your way and let you go ahead and look at part one. And I'll see you again over in part two. So hey everybody, it's Jo, and as I promised you, we have such a treat for you. We have this lovely person named Pam Vesper here.
Hello.
Yay. And Pam and I have a confession to make. And our confession is every time that she and I get together, there's wine involved. I don't care what time of day is, there's wine involved.
We get along well.
We do. We do get along well. And today we even brought out the napkins that says wine in, wisdom out. And that's what we're hoping to accomplish here. So let me give you a little background on Pam. So Pam is an attorney in the state of North Carolina. And even if you're outside the state of North Carolina, many of the things that she's going to talk about are best practices, they're wisdoms, they're more than they are specific legal issues.
Right.
Although we might drill down on one of those, we'll tell you when we're doing it. And she has been on both sides of this fence. So she's been on the side of working for a real estate commission where she was an investigator. She was the one charged in hunting down the people doing bad. And now she's on the other side. And her business specifically helps agents when they have to go in front of the real estate commission, when they have to go in front of the Association of Realtors, when they have to go, or even when they're involved in a legal suit.
Right, if they're disputing things with their firm, and help counsel them. I mean, you name it. Real estate related stuff is my bag.
That's her bag. So people who get a complaint in the mail and they want advice before they turn their response in, all of those things. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I need her. Well, that's good because I'm going to be giving you her contact information. But she and I met a few days ago. Yes, wine was involved there too. And we talked about what we were going to talk about. And really what we decided to do is create this into basic three parts. And part one that we were going to do is the idea of what is it that you should be doing? Where are those places that you should be protecting yourself? Then we decided to talk about what are the things that you really shouldn't be doing and really just kind of crystallize some of those things. And then probably my very favorite category that we're going to be talking about is what should you do when the real estate commission comes calling? And let me just go ahead and say, before we get to that point, if you're in the business long enough and you have done enough transactions, it's entirely possible the real estate commission will come calling, whether through fault of your own or not.
It's true. I mean, these days people are going to complain.
Yeah.
So
it's litigious out there, and they're going to complain.
If you're in business long enough, you're going to have some complaint with your commission.
Who was it telling me? Was it you telling me the other day that our real estate commission, North Carolina's real estate commission, has taken the complaint button and put it on the front page?
Yes.
And that their complaints have gone crazy?
I think they told me that their complaints have gone up 25%. because you can complain online. They used to require that you notarize documents or strongly suggest it.
Right.
But now if you can just click a button, they're hiring new people because of the influx of complaints.
All right, so let's just let it be known that if I'm ever elected governor, which I never will be,
Don't be too sure.
primarily because of my 20s, when I liked badminton and good gin,
There you go.
I probably can't get through the vetting process. I would have a little pop-up window when you hit file a complaint, and that pop-up window would say, "Have you been drinking?" That's what I would do. Just let it be known out there. That's what I would do. So if any of you are ever elected governor, will you please do that for me? I will appreciate that.
That's funny.
So, all right. So let's go ahead and start with good. Right?
Okay.
We want to start with things that you should do.
So, well, the first thing that I thought that agents should think about is when they have a question and they're unsure about what they should do in a specific situation, they should ask for help.
Great.
Okay, so I know there are agents out there, they tell me all the time that they were just unsure and they just made a rash decision, and that rash decision comes back to bite them. So you should call BIC, you should call a broker that you respect and trust.
Great.
You should call an attorney. You can also call the commission in North Carolina and get answers to questions. But just know that, you should make sure that you have the best tools in your toolbox to try to keep your problems to a minimum.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So I get a lot of telephone calls, and for those of you who don't know, my husband wrote one of the textbooks for pre-licensing. We get lots of telephone calls from people going, "Okay, I have a situation." Right? And 9 times out of 10 in that conversation, I hear them say, "I don't want to call the real estate commission. Will I get in trouble if I call the real estate commission?" Because they're going to ask your name, your license number, they're going to ask those things. So what do you say to that?
Well, there's an urban myth, that when you call up there that you're on a list now and that you're going to be hit by an auditor.
That's not true.
It's not true. It's not true. So it cuts both ways. So when you call in, yes, they do type in your name and your license number, and they type in your question, and they type in their answer. So the good thing is that they now have staked themselves out. And so you can rest assured that if the advice that you get is wrong, or maybe you forgot to give them a detail that would have changed their response.
Right.
When it all goes bad, you can say, "Well, I called the commission and this is what they told me to do," and it covers you.
Ooh.
It covers you.
Okay, so that brings up me another question. I hear people say, "I called the commission and they told me X, and I don't think it's right. So I called again, and somebody else told me differently."
Yes.
So what would you say to that? These were questions I did not tell her were coming, by the way, so I'm totally putting her on the spot.
But that's okay, because I get this question a lot.
Okay.
And so, the real estate commission members are, and their staff are people too, and they make mistakes sometimes, and, and the way you frame a question may change the answer that you get.
And if you're a broker in charge, you will understand that. Yeah.
And so ultimately, if it were me, I would go for a tiebreaker. I would go for a tiebreaker, and I might go for someone not at the commission.
Right.
So at that point, now you're getting 2 sets of responses. And the beautiful thing about hiring an attorney or calling an attorney or calling a broker in charge, if you get a professional opinion, then you can use that professional opinion to defend yourself. Right? So if you called me and I give you advice and I'd say, "Here's what you should do."
Right.
When it all goes to hell, then I can take the heat for you because I'm your attorney and I counsel you to do that. So you're not going to get in trouble when an attorney counsels you to do something.
Great.
So it's like a get out of jail free card.
Ooh, we like that. We like that. That's really good. That's really, really good. All right, cool. All right, so seek out help.
Yeah.
Seek out another opinion.
Yes.
You can't trust your own opinion when it's you. I mean, you just can't, because there's something called confirmation bias.
Huh.
Well, yeah, it's a psychological. Yeah, I'm a psychologist. It's a psychological term that is since we seek out advice that keeps us protected. Right? It's called confirmation bias. So, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So, so that's really great. You can call the commission. It actually can work for you.
Yes.
Right?
And you're not going to be on a hit list
Okay.
for audits. You won't.
Okay, cool. All right, that's I could talk about that one for a while, but we got to move on. Okay, number 2, things to do.
So you are a human being. You're going to make mistakes.
Right.
So when you make a mistake, act with integrity to fix the mistake. You know, own it, respect that you made one, and fix it.
And fix it.
So if the real estate
and fix it even better.
Yes, exactly. I mean, even the real estate commission will say, if a complaint is lodged against you, they cannot mandate that you pay money to someone who they think you've wronged.
Right.
But if you do decide to pay money to someone that's wrong, or pay to fix the thing that you made a mistake about, then the sun comes out and the rainbow appears, and they like it a lot. You know, because you're showing you're willing to take your lump and to do the right thing. So I've found in my practice that discipline is greatly diminished when a licensee says, you know what, yep, I screwed that up. I paid $5,000 to hook them to city sewer, and I'm terribly sorry.
Got it. And that they'll give them some grace from that.
Yes, exactly.
So I do want to clarify something really quickly, and that is that most real estate commissions, and I know our real estate commission cannot give certain fine, can't make you pay, can't do those kind of things. Your association of realtors can, however.
True.
So do keep that in mind, that a real estate commission does not, but the association of the realtors can indeed fine you.
Yes.
So do keep that in mind, that there's that separation between those two things.
And I think some folks don't quite understand the difference between the two. So the commission is the body that gave you your license. You took a state exam, you took some education, and you have this license. The association is a voluntary membership that you join for certain benefits. It's networking, and it's those fabulous forms that they have that you get as part of your membership.
Right. And the Association of Realtors can't take your license.
No.
Only the Real Estate Commission can do that.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. All right, cool. So I have to say that my big uh-oh in my real estate career was mismeasuring a house. And I don't think I mismeasured the house. I think my finger went awry on the calculator because my measurements were perfect.
Oh, you had your drawing?
My drawing was great. My drawing was perfect. And it just didn't calculate up to the appraisers. And I still to this day don't know what happened. And I just made the decision, like you said, I just took the heat for it. I just stood up and said, okay, I screwed up. I don't know what else to say. I screwed up. It cost me some money. It cost me some money to hold the deal together. And because I had another deal on that one and another deal on that one, so I had them all stacked up. So I was paying whatever I needed to pay to get out of that one.
Gotcha.
And it worked out. So when the guy who was buying the house that I had mismeasured, when he said, well, I'm going to report you to the real estate commission, you know what? I had done the right thing. And I said, you know, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm fine. I'm fine with what I did and how I did it. And he backed off. He backed off. I didn't let him use that for a threat because I had done what I was supposed to do and I made it right.
You acted with integrity.
I did. So I was very proud of that moment, even though I screwed up. Okay.
Well, and you know, it kind of brings up a good point, especially with square footage issues. What I find is the square footage can be very tricky. A lot of agents don't do it. So here in North Carolina, we have firms popping up that all they do is square footage because agents hate doing it. But square footage questions normally can't come up years later.
Right, when they go to sell it.
Exactly right.
Oh.
So you could have a decade go by, and they suddenly go to list the house, and they thought it was 2,000 square feet, and they find out it's 1,400, and they really didn't know. And so now, who do they complain about?
Yeah,
The buyer's agent and the listing agent. Their agent should have known because they're an agent, and the listing agent misrepresented, and so they pull them in. And 10 years later, do you still have your records?
So that allows us, we are going to jump forward a moment to a question that's a little bit further down our list.
Sure.
Because that's a really good question. Most agents don't realize that even though we have an amount of time that we're supposed to keep our records, they can complain whenever they want to. They can complain whenever they want to. In our real estate commission, it doesn't matter how long has passed, they can complain. Are there civil, yes, there's civil deadlines,
yes,
but they can complain to a real estate commission 25 years after it. And so one of the do's that we have on our list is what to do with your records, right? So in the state of North Carolina, we have to keep our records 3 years from the date of distribution of money, last distribution of money. And we need to clarify that for a second, because most people think it's just 3 years.
Yes.
No, it's from the distribution of money.
Right. And so if there's a dispute about an earnest money deposit or some other money that you're holding in your trust account, then that clock is not sort of ticking for the 3-year rule in North Carolina.
Right. Right. So I had a deal years ago where 10 years after the deal fell apart, we let go of earnest money.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. So my 3 years started then. All right. So please understand that. So a big question that real estate agents have is, shouldn't I keep my records for a really long time? And your answer is?
No. My answer is no. The rules require that you have them for this 3-year period after the end of the transaction or the last disbursement of money. But after that date, shred away. Shred away. Now, if I had to give you one caveat, it would be this. Most agents that I know have this one transaction from hell. That everything went terribly. Their client was hateful. The other side was hateful. The other agent was hateful. It just went terribly.
I know which one mine is immediately. I know exactly which one it is.
And those are the transactions that tend to wind up in front of the real estate commission. You know, those really terrible transactions, I might suggest you keep your notes, keep your texts, keep your emails. You don't have to keep paper. You can scan it all in and keep it on a flash drive and throw it in the drawer.
But I would scan my sticky notes even.
Yes.
Because sticky notes, I know of a case where the sticky note was the difference between that agent.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah. So keep every little detail of those bad ones.
The really bad ones. Because those are the people that wake up one morning and go, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going to click on that button and complain. And there you go. And then you can pull out that file out of your attic or and say, here's my side of the story.
So what happens if they complain and you did destroy your file?
They cannot discipline you for not having the file after the 3 years.
Okay.
And so they have what's called a he said, she said case. So if they're pointing the finger at you and you're just pointing the finger back at them, but no one can prove anything, it goes away. It just goes away.
Okay.
So
perfect. By the way, and I'm about to say this, and I can't produce the name. I'm sorry. But I just heard of an app that stores your texts.
Yes.
Do you know what that is? Is it you I heard that from?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Mark Saunders out of Winston-Salem is a property manager, and we have written some classes together.
Oh, yeah. So if you're a property manager, they've just done an update course on property management. And property managers all the time when they're in update courses say, there's nothing really here for me.
Exactly. Yeah. So we saw a need, and we decided to write some courses. And so this update, it's commission approved. So in North Carolina, you can get your 4-hour update, and it's focused for property managers.
That's smooth. That's great.
We're hoping it's going to be popular.
So he told you about an app.
So he has an app, and and the name of it is going to elude me right now.
We'll remember and we'll post it. EverText. Okay.
And it basically captures your texts for your phone and stores them just like you can store an email. And it's NCAR approved. So they're a contributing
Association of Realtors.
Yes.
And if you're not in North Carolina, okay.
But this app is available wherever.
Right, that's exactly right. Because we got people from all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's very cool. All right, since I went out of order, what's your next one?
Okay.
I did. I skipped. I saw an opportunity.
Okay. Get E&O insurance.
Get E&O. I thought everybody had it.
Not
You told me
everybody has
that,
it.
yeah.
I think it's a good idea to have it. Some firms require it if you're going to work for them.
Yeah.
But you're normally in North Carolina, you're an independent contractor. And so really it's up to you to get your insurance. The firms don't typically provide it. And so why not have we know there's going to be a complaint about you, and we know you're going to make a mistake. And so why wouldn't you have a policy in place to help prevent your losing everything?
Yeah. Hello.
You know? And as a sidebar, you could also talk to your attorney about forming an S Corp or an INC or an LLC and putting assets into some sort of entity so that if you're sued personally, they can't take your personal property.
Which really took us into our next topic, which is, should you go in and get incorporated or get some type of rider on your homeowner's insurance that gives you a little shield of liability?
Yes.
Right? My husband and I did that years ago because at some point I had a fender bender with a customer in a car. And I was worried about, okay, so what would happen if I had a big accident with a customer in a car?
Exactly.
Right? So we started getting worried about that. And around that same time, we went in and created an S Corp. And we got a policy, a rider on our homeowner's insurance to protect me if something like that happened.
And I had the same thing.
Okay.
And it's not expensive.
No, it's super cheap, putting riders on.
And I think I have like $1 million.
I have $1 million. Yeah, I have $1 million on that too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, that's great. That's really good advice. All right.
All right, let's see. So do custom addenda.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're out there in the trenches every day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my clients come to me and say, I have this thing, it keeps happening. I keep having the same debate with clients, or I keep having tenants do X. And I would love to, have some sort of form I can make them sign.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't have to worry about this with all my clients anymore.
Right.
And so I do custom addendum for my clients that basically address the specific problems that they're having in their business.
Great.
And so they can then attach those addenda to their contracts and be covered.
Give me an example.
So one that's becoming very popular is I have an addendum that basically says that if you're going to come on and work for me, you're going to be my client, you agree and acknowledge that social media is an extremely powerful thing. And you understand that if we have a disagreement, that you could really hurt my business if you post against me. And so you agree that you will not post anything negative on social media about me or my firm, my agents, or anything.
Right.
And we put a damage of $100 a day in the waiver. So basically, when they sign the management agreement or they sign the listing agreement, you're also saying they agree not to Yelp about you. And if they Yelp about you later, then they're in breach of your contract. And
so now you've got some teeth.
Now you've got some teeth, and you can trot into court, and you can say, Your Honor, we have an agreement. They agreed not to post about me, and so it's been 30 days, so I want my money.
Right.
And the hardest thing about posting like defamatory statements is proving the damages. How do you prove how are you damaged if someone just says, you're a terrible person,
a bad agent.
Right? And so, but if you say it's $100 a day, you can tell a judge, well, it's easy.
I've got it defined
it's posted here, and today is this day. It's been 45 days, and so we can calculate that very easily.
That is a fine idea.
So in any event, yeah, I do too.
Okay.
I recently had a defamation lawsuit that we handled against a former employee of a company, and we won our defamation lawsuit.
A real estate company.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it can work in your favor.
Ooh, I like it. Okay, good. All right, next one up.
I put under my do column, I think it's a biggie with the Real Estate Commission, is hash out agency. So they're really big about making sure that the public understands who you are working for. And we have oral buyer's agency for a period of time here in North Carolina. And at a certain point, you have to get it all in writing. But there are a lot of complaints that are made because people just don't understand who you're working for. So they spill way too many beans to you before you can say, wait, here's the working with real estate agents brochure, or wait, I'm working only for the seller on this transaction. So you really need to make sure you hash out, are you going to be designated dual agents?
Right.
And
here's my opinion. First, I don't think a lot of agents understand it, that it's fairly complicated, and I don't think they understand all the layers. Secondly, it's complicated, and it's hard to tell to somebody in a little snippet.
yes.
Right? It's hard to say to a lay person, here's how you do it. So I did a project years ago where I had 211 agents, one by one, sit in front of me and give me their listing presentation.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so part of that was doing agency, right? And what I found, it was a minute number who did it well. There was a pretty substantial number who did not do it at all. And then there was this group that when they started talking about agency, their voice changed, or their eye contact changed. There was even one that started slumping over, and which clearly indicated to me there was something wrong, they didn't understand, they weren't committed to this conversation.
Yeah.
And as a fake seller, I was like, okay, I did trust them, but now I don't trust them. And I agree with you. If there's any one script you practice,
Oh my God.
it is being completely confident. And by the way, go to your Beck if you don't understand. They're responsible for you understanding.
True.
They will be happy to spend as much time as possible with you getting that worked out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps you and it helps your firm. And it helps your clients. And they're
Yeah.
going to feel your energy. They're going to feel when you're
Thank
like,
you.
oh, I've got this thing you've got to sign.
And I hope-
and,
will you sign
I
it?
just, it's no big deal. No,
Yeah.
if you approach it as, look, I want you to totally understand what team I'm on.
Right?
And so let's talk about teams. Do you want me to work for you on, do you want me to be on your team? I don't
Right.
have to be. There's no pressure.
Right.
But I can be on your team and I
Right.
can help you. Or I can be on the other team. Just don't tell me anything that you
won't
want
be
the other
on the
team to know.
team.
There are ways to frame it as a positive discussion.
I always start out the conversation with, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you're so lucky. You're lucky because you're in the state of North Carolina, and the state of North Carolina protects consumers. And they protect you by requiring that every real estate agent have a conversation about our relationship. May I do that now? Yes, I elbowed my brethren when I did that, by the way, and I intended on doing that. You don't talk about agency, I'm going to call you out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Trust me, I have looked for houses before, back when I was with the real estate commission. And it was just curious how they would handle it.
They didn't say
And
anything.
90% of them didn't say anything until they were chit-chatting with me, trying to figure out, like, how much do you make, and how much house can you buy, and what do you do for a living? And sometimes I would tell them.
Oh, hell, I'd hate to have been the person that said.
The funniest one was that I had visited 3 houses with this agent, and we got to the 3rd house, and she showed me around, and she said, what do you do, by the way? And I said, actually, I'm with the real estate commission. And all the color drained from her face. And she said, oh, my God, I have something I've got to show you. And she runs out to her trunk of her car, and she grabs the Working with Real Estate Agents brochure, which is required in North Carolina. And she's like, here.
Before the 3rd house.
And I that was right. But I'm convinced she wouldn't have said anything unless,
I know.
Until I had said what I did.
Tom and I looked at a house from a listing agent one time, and not only did she not bring out the brochure, but when I said to her after the showing, I think it's overpriced and I think it has some maintenance deferred, she said, oh, honey, he has $15,000 overpriced. And I'm like, you didn't say that about your client.
Exactly.
Yeesh. Okay, well, we could talk about that all day, too.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
All right, the next one. Molly has decided to join us, as you can see.
Keeping us warm, aren't you? Well, I think those are all of the do's.
Oh, I have one
Do you
down
have another
here.
one?
I have a note down here to come clean.
Come clean.
Come clean.
It's true. Own it. Own it. So I deal with a lot of agents, and we've already established you're gonna make mistakes. We've already established people are gonna complain, and so you're gonna have these moments in your life where you're gonna think I should cover my tracks, and I'm here to tell you, you shouldn't do it. So I had a client who recently made a mistake. He had a material fact that he did not disclose.
Uh-huh.
And when push came to shove, the question was, had he disclosed it to the buyer's agent or not? Buyer's agent said, I never was informed of that information. Of course, if I had been told, I would have told my client. It would have affected whether or not we made an offer. The agent in question said, I did disclose it to her. I gave it to her in an email. And so the question was, well, let's
Where's
see the
the
email. So he produces an email that shows, oh, and by the way, I don't want to say what the thing was, but
Okay.
by the way, there's this
Blah, blah,
condition,
blah,
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 blah, blah. And so the agent on the other side said, I have that email. That last line was not in it. Bum, bum,
Bum,
bum.
That is a cliffhanger.
I mean,
All right,
really.
there it is.
So you have a heart-to-heart with a client and you say, look,
Mhm.
if you have changed your email, you need to tell me.
Right.
You need to tell me now because I can't adequately defend you if I don't know what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's hard to admit when you've made an error and maybe had a
Right.
lapse in judgment, but at the end of the day, you got to tell your attorney the truth. And so he said, I did not change that email. That was there. She's lying because she didn't disclose it to her client. And I thought, why wouldn't she disclose it to her client? Why wouldn't she?
We always get back to motivation, don't we?
And so,
Don't we?
but he swore up and down that he had.
Mhm.
Well, so the firm, the buyer's agent's firm, had a third-party provider that automatically archived every email that was sent into their firm, and it was just a third party off-site. They went through and said, "Would you please pull the email from
Yes.
Bob?" And the language was not in there.
There it is.
So, if he had just said, oh my God, I made a mistake. I should have told you. I just found out about Tuesday and I thought we were under contract and, blah, blah, blah. Or I forgot. That would have been, okay, you made a mistake. What are we going to do to fix it?
Right.
But now he's made a mistake and he's lied to cover it up.
And the lie is a lot worse than the mistake.
The lie is a lot worse than a mistake, especially in the eyes of the real estate commission, because if you're willing to lie to cover your butt for a transaction, where is your line?
Right.
Like, so if you get some money for an earnest money deposit check and your rent is due, are you honest? Are you going to deposit it into your account, maybe pay it later, hoping to pay it later? The commission is going to have to flesh that out. It's going to go much worse. And so now he's staked himself out. He's lied to the commission. He's lied to the other side. He does not have a license anymore. And
there you go.
There you have it. So I think any mistake that you make is salvageable. And you might think this is the end of the world. I thought I should have known that particular bit of information and I was afraid to ask or I was afraid to tell that I made a mistake. You just need to swallow hard and admit you made a mistake and deal with it appropriately.
I think I told you I have a friend/broker in charge who his motto is when in doubt disclose. When in doubt disclose. When in doubt disclose. That's the motto. I mean, he could have it tattooed on him. I mean, he is that insistent.
Perfect.
On when in doubt disclose.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about don't do's.